Hello, my name is Benga if you didn't already know, and today we're going to get through some plant chores, so I thought I would bring you along with me as I get through them. Most of the things I need to do are actually to do with mold, so this is a warning. I won't show it for too long, but if the sight of mold makes you uncomfortable, then there'll probably be a section you need to skip, but I'll make it clear when we get to that section, and I won't focus too much on the look of the mold. But if you're still worried, maybe this video just isn't for you and you can watch another video, maybe I'll link one up here that you can watch instead. But without further ado, let's just begin. So I think all but one of these plants have mold on them, so I'll get this one out of the way first. This is my Pothos Enjoy. All I need to do with this is I noticed, it might be quite tricky to get it in the frame, but I noticed that the roots are not all covered in soil. So I'm just going to add a bit more soil to cover the roots to make sure they don't dry out and be too exposed to dry air. The humidity is pretty low in the UK in general, so I really don't want those to dry out. So I'll do that first. I'm gonna have to sweep after this. I already made a mess. So, before I add more soil, I think I've mentioned this before in another video, but if you can see inside the pot, I think you can see in there that there's bits of, I'm assuming, moss growing. So that's fun. Right. So it should be pretty simple. Right, so I can't actually see whether or not this is in focus, but we're just gonna use our faith to make sure this works. This is the pothos in question. I think you should be able to see here that you can see the exposed roots. So all I'm gonna try and do is add some soil to cover that up. I've got my soil down here. Shouldn't require much. I'm probably going to just apply roughly this much. I say apply, put into the pot and sprinkle that on top, and that covers this side. I'm going to flip it over and make sure it's a bit more even. I do actually like the fact that you can see the vine. I think that only matters because it's one vine. And I like the way it looks as a single vine, but as it grows, it won't matter so much. What's more important is that the roots are covered. So here you go. Okay, number one, task done. Okay, now that I'm done with the pothos, let me change the angle so you can see a bit more closely what I'm talking about when it comes to the mold. Okay, let me take you through the items that you will need if you are going to deal with a plant that has mold problems. Number one, as you can see, I've got a towel down on the surface. This is just a used towel that we use for things that are not our bodies. It's just an old towel, and that's just because if I make a mess, it'll be easy to deal with the soil if it's in one place that I can easily transport and throw in the bin. Item number two that I think you need will be somewhere you can put any soil that you don't want to keep. So I'm going to be removing any soil that has mold. Probably just put it in here so that's just in one place, easy. Two, I'm going to use a container like this. This is just going to be for the plants that I want to actually completely unpot. So if there's any good soil that falls out, I want it to land in here so I can use that again and put it back in the pot. Number three is going to be this stick, which I'm just going to use to poke the soil and to create air holes. Four, I have this. Now I'm miscounting, but ignore the numbers. This is just in case I make a mess, I need to wipe it up. And then finally, you need the plant in question, which for number one is going to be this jade plant. Something I didn't explain that I want to make clear is that number one, this is not a tutorial video. I'm just showing you how I'm dealing with the mold on my plants. In order to figure out what was going on, I watched a couple of other videos, so I will link some of those in the description that explain what this mold is, why it grows, and how to prevent it. My approach is pretty much going to be, number one, remove any existing mold that's visible from the pot entirely. So that was probably going to take off in some cases up to about a centimetre or two of soil off the top layer, and in some cases I'm going to have to unpot it and get some of the soil off the bottom because that's got mould on it. Number two is going to be replacing any soil that's now missing so it's still at the same level. Number three is going to make sure that once I've added this new soil, I let that dry for a few days before I then water it again. And then number four is from going on from this point, I'm probably going to water a little bit less frequently, and also make sure that I give a chance for the plant to fully drain and then maybe air it out and dry it out, maybe by a window after I've watered it. And number five is to make sure there's air in the soil. So I'm probably going to make sure that after I've watered it, I use something to stab the soil to make sure there's air holes that can allow air circulation. From what I understand, someone else probably be able to explain it better than me, but from what I understand, the fungus, the mold that you see is the result of a fungus developing that feeds off of decaying matter. And I think also the added moisture and lack of air circulation encourages this to grow and provides the food that that organism eats in order to reproduce and so on. In my case, some of them just look like kind of hard water stains. If you are, definitely if you're from London or just generally part of the world that has hard water, which from my understanding, it just means there's a high mineral content in the water. So when water dries somewhere, it leaves behind white marks. I thought that's what was going on. I thought it was just drying up on the top of the soil and it was hard water stains. So the reason I'm showing you these different things is because in the case of, I think, say the jade, for example, what looks like a hard water stain, that's how it starts. And it ends up like this calico behind me, where the whole entire top layer is fuzzy. So it's just a heads up for you, if you're seeing what looks like a hard water stain on the top layer of your soil, this might be the beginning of mold. Of course, if you catch it at that stage, it requires less effort to treat it. I say treat, it doesn't really require much to solve this as far as I know. But if you catch it at that point and act then, it probably will be less effort to deal with later on. So I recommend you just deal with it then. As I understand it, in all cases with this mold, if it's correctly identified as the correct mold that I think it is, all you really need to do is just to move around the soil and that'll be enough. But because I want to be extra, I want to, number one, remove any soil that has mold on it, just because I want to be safe and sure that there's no mold remaining in the pot. And also number two, you can apply cinnamon to the soil. I've seen a lot of people do that and say that that also helps prevent it because it's a natural antifungal. I don't want to do that, so I'm not going to. This is just my approach. May not work, maybe it will work, and maybe I'll try cinnamon later on. But I just wanted to give you an idea of why I'm approaching it like this. But I'm not saying this is the right way to do it, this is just how I'm doing it on this occasion. Alright, so in the case of the jade plant, we're going to start off here. You can see down the front, hopefully you can see on the front, that there are some white marks, and it looks like kind of a hard water stain, but in my experience I now know, for at least in my environment, that this is actually just a precursor to a more serious mold problem. So what I'm going to do is this the one that has, yeah, it's also got a bit of mold at the bottom. You may not be able to see it because of the angle, but there's a couple, you can see some mold through the drainage holes. I think you can see what's on here. So I'm going to unpot it completely, remove the bottom layer of soil, remove the top layer of soil, and then also replace some more soil at the bottom and then repot it. Let's go. Hi, so I was going to put some music in this section, but I couldn't be bothered to figure out how to put music into videos. If you've never noticed, I've never actually put music in my videos, and that's because it just seems like a whole thing that I need to learn how to do, and I haven't done it yet. So in the meantime, I'm just going to jump into this video temporarily, or periodically rather, and just have a chat. There's nothing really for me to say per se, but I'm just here to talk whilst you look at the sped up footage. Wow, look at me go. 2 times speed. Isn't that fun? Anyway, so how are you? I feel like we've not spoken in a while. It's been a while since I last heard from you. You didn't reply my last text, but that's okay. I'm not salty about it. Yeah, how's things? How's the new job? Hope it's treating you well. Like work isn't everything, so if they're annoying you, it's fine. You've got other things going for you, but yeah, I just wanted to know that everything's well with you. Oh yeah, you went on holiday, didn't you? Where did you go again? Where was it? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, how was it? Oh, really? You sure? So now we have an unpotted plant, an empty pot, and roughly enough soil, but I need a little bit more. So I'm going to just repot it back into this, and then we should be done. So, as I was saying, yeah, how was the holiday? Really? Really? I would have thought it would be more like relaxing, you were chilling on the beach. Ah, so do you think you're not going to go on holiday with that group again? Mm, I feel that. I feel that. Sometimes when you're on holiday with someone, you're just like, wow, I'm never doing this again. Never again with you. So it's good to be true to yourself and know what you like and what you don't like. And honestly, low key, solo travel is the way forward. Not always, but I think a lot of the time, especially if it's like a reasonably short trip and you want to go and no one else wants to go with you, or the only people you want to go that want to go with you are people you don't want to go on holiday with anymore, I recommend just going by yourself. It's very liberating. Yeah, I think you should do it. Okay. Oh wait, hold on 1 second. 1 second. Okay, so one thing I want to mention at this point is that you can see now that the actual final line of the soil is higher than it was when we started. And I think that's just because, even though if you notice, I haven't actually added much soil, I only added about this much new soil. I think that's partly because the soil now is less compacted, because when you water it, the soil settles every time you water it, and it goes lower and lower and fills in all the air holes. But now there's a lot more air in the soil. So one thing I think I'm going to be doing from now on is that after watering, maybe every second or third time I water any plant, I will poke this around to get more air holes, because I can see airflow is probably a big issue here. Done. Now I'm going to do the same thing with this one here as well. Okay, so this one, notice the soil line is down here. Can you see that? No, it's pretty difficult to see, but the soil level is pretty low. Okay, let's compare it to where it gets to at the end. Okay, removed a top layer of soil. It doesn't look like at the bottom there's any. Yeah, I can't see any mold at the bottom in the drainage holes. So I'm going to leave it as it is and maybe just top up a little bit of soil on the top, and that's it. That's it, done. So the angle is going to be very difficult for this one, but it will be quick. There's not much mold on this plant as far as I can see, so I'm pretty much going to just flick it off. A lot of it is on the soil at the base of the stem of the plant, so I'm pretty much going to flick it off and flick it out of the pot, and that's it. It's not a lot, so I probably won't need to add any more soil on top. I actually think it's going to be so difficult to try and show you that I'm just going to do it and we're going to move on. Okay, I've removed the mold. All I need to do is I'm gonna create some air holes, because I think it's pretty clear that this soil is super compacted and there is no airflow. So I'll do this now. It's quite satisfying actually. thought I would be more scared of damaging the roots, but now I'm in this position, I actually do not care. I'm quite enjoying just going for it. Okay, you can see, maybe you can't see, but I can tell that from this that the soil is wet. So I do think that this needs to be dried, this soil needs to be dried and aired out. I'll leave it by the window after this. Let's see. Yeah, it's wet. What is that at the bottom? I don't know what that is. I'm gonna rinse this off as well. I'm gonna do that now. Right, next plant to deal with is over here. I hope you can see that. All that really needs to be done is taking off the top layer of soil, and I think that'll be it. I don't really think I'm going to add more soil, but we'll see how much I end up taking off. Because you can see, all it is just that, this top layer has white stuff on it. And as you see below, it's fine. So let me do that quickly. I'll try and do it the way you can see, but it's a bit difficult to get that angle. Okay, so. Honestly, it's a good thing that you are struggling to see what's going on, because this plant is doing so well, the leaves are so luscious and abundant that it's difficult to see the soil, and that's fine, because the soil's not the focus, the plant is. And this is a testament to how well I'm taking care of it, you know? Anyway, I think I'm pretty much done. I didn't end up taking off a lot of soil, so I don't think I'm going to bother replacing. Yeah, I think we'll be good. Just take that bit off. And here we are. Now you can see the top layer of soil is nice and dark. And I think we're in the money. Okay. Yeah, this is how interesting this angle is. I'm going to get rid of some of the soil so I have more space for more, and then I'll come back with the final plant. Do you remember at the start of this video when I said there would be some mold that you may not want to see? Well, time has come and that moment is now. So if you don't like the sight of mold, you should probably just exit the video here. I won't hold it against you, but there's really no way to get around it. The next clip has just a lot of mold in it. So for those of you who are staying, please enjoy. Okay, it's going to be very difficult to get this in frame because the pot is big and the plant is big. I'll probably have to adjust the camera, so bear with me. Okay, we are ready to go. So as you can see here, I'll put the focus over here. You can see that the fungus that's growing here is a lot, that's not even the worst part. If I turn it, you'll see it's even worse. First of all, you can see it's really very white, it's fuzzy, and it's growing all up and through the pot. So this is what it turns into if it starts off with that hard water stain look and then you leave it. I don't even know when this started. There was a point at which I kind of just ignored it. There's There's a point at which I tried to like scrape it off and I threw out the soil and I regrew, and there was a point at which I just watered on top of it. All of these I think were not the right approach. So what I will do now is, number one, remove the top layer of soil, and at the same time I need to remove, I've got 2 propagations going in here as well. I don't think you can see it from this angle, but here I replanted a leaf that I broke off, and then there's another very small piece somewhere in here which I hope I will see and not break off by accident. Oh, there it is. You can't see it from this angle, but this I will actually show you a close-up in a second. And then I'll take off the top layer of soil. I will viciously poke some holes in here, and then I won't replace any more soil. I'll just leave it like that. And I will leave it for about a week before watering it, because it does need to be watered relatively soon. But I need to stay true to myself and not water something that I've just cleared of mold. Okay, cool, let's go. Hello, this is what I look like close up if you've never seen my face this close. Right, so let me flip the camera. So, up close and personal with the mold. As you can see, this is the broken leaf I was talking about that has a baby growing out of the front of it. So I'll be repotting this into its own pot. I'll insert a clip of the older brothers Lalo and Lazaro over here to see what this will turn into as it grows, and the old leaf will die off. Then over, where is it? I can't actually see, I still can't see it even though I just saw it now. Oh, it's here. You really can't see it on camera, but this over here is also, there's a bit of green. Yeah, there you go. Which I also put, and I don't know if it's growing, so let us find out. First of all, I'm going to try and get the small one out first actually, so let me reposition. So hopefully you can see that. It's kind of difficult for me to see, so I'm just hoping that you can see, but we are focusing our attention here first in this. So let me focus. All right, let's see what we come up with. Okay. Okay, I don't know if you can see that because it's quite difficult to film and look at it myself at the same time. But in fact, let me just move this off to off the side. Okay, so it does have very small growth. Let me put it in my hand instead. So, this very light colored bit of new growth. Wow, okay. You know what, let me just do this on the table. Right, so if you look very carefully, you will be able to see this is actually some new growth coming out of the bottom. It's very small, it's just a baby, but I remember when I last regrew this from a leaf, that's how it started as well. Very pale, small growth. I hope that's in focus, because honestly, I'm just going off vibes right now. Okay, let's remove this. Hopefully I can get it in one scoop. Oh wow, I can see that's got way more roots than I was expecting. So I'm going to take it down and so we can look at it more clearly. Okay, so as you can see, there's clearly new growth. Actually, no, way fewer roots I was expecting, because I saw all this growth. I was expecting a good amount of roots, but it was really just this, I think. So, like I said, I will put this in its own pot, and I'll put it in the same pot as the tiny cutting that I picked up before. So this is just a sidebar to dealing with the mold, but I want to get these out so that I know that they're good and I can put them to one side. Okay, so my approach for this section is just going to be to take off the top layer of soil, and then I'm going to stab it to get more airflow going, let it dry out afterwards, and then I will water eventually. One thing I don't think I mentioned is that this soil is so dry that I think it's actually, and it's become so compacted that it doesn't really water very well. When you water it, it just kind of sits on top and then it soaks in over some time. So I think there's a note to myself that when I see that, I need to pay attention to aerate the soil by poking some holes in it. Before I thought that was just like normal, but from what I'm reading, that's part of what causes the mold. But in itself, it's an issue, and the mold is just an additional signal that that's happening. The mold itself isn't harmful to the plant, but it can be a sign that there's other things that are wrong. Of course, if you know more than I do, and you disagree with what I just said, then please share alternative opinion or additional information if you have it. Yes, I'm still here. How you doing? Yes. So, yeah, we're done talking about holidays. Yeah, what was it you wanted to talk about? Oh, yeah, clubbing. Yeah, I feel you. Honestly, at this age, I feel like clubbing is just not what it used to be. When I was young, especially when I was at uni, it was just like the done thing. That's where you see people, where you hang out. But at this age, I'm just like, do I really want to do all of that? Like standing in line in the cold, paying for entry, then paying for drinks, and then paying for cloakroom. Music is too loud. People are just sweaty all up on you. Like no disrespect. Like I sweat too, but feeling someone else's sweat is different to feeling your own. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I know you get it. Look at this chunk of soil. I think because it's so dry, it just sort of clumps together. I don't think that's even a root holding it together. It's just a clump of soil. So dry. But for real though, when was the last time that you really, really enjoyed a club night? Because for me, I think they're just really few and far between. Some I just tolerate because it's fun, kind of. But the faff is not worth it, but I still go because I enjoy the music, enjoy seeing my friends. But overall, I think I just rather stay in most of the time. Yeah, we need some new club nights, right? Okay, now I've removed all of the mold of the top. All I'm going to do is now stab it to aerate it. Hopefully, let me do it like this so you can see what's going on. Hey, are you still running a lot? Yeah. I remember you used to run so much. Yeah, I mean, you kind of inspired me. I started running, started off like once every week, and I managed to get it all the way up to once a day. So I'm proud of myself for that. I kind of fell off recently, but I'm trying to get back into it. It's kind of hard, but it's really useful when you have good playlists. You're motivated. And for me, I've got it done in the morning. If I don't get it done in the morning, it's just not happening. So I try to go before work, and it works. It works for me. Oh, this is actually quite hard. But I learned the hard way that if you don't properly stretch before you start running, bad things will happen. I messed up my ankle. I was feeling it in my knees. If you, yeah, you gotta not only stretch but warm up in general. Get your body moving and flowing before you start putting impact, especially on your knees. When I start my run, I go straight up a hill for like a good minute, and then another smaller hill for another 30 seconds. So going from zero to that without stretching is just a complete myth. Anyway, good catching up with you. I'll chat to you next time, yeah? All right, bye. My hand is tired. I'm tired. Okay, all done. Okay, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm so tired, so I don't foresee myself doing a proper outro. I need to go and eat. But all of the things like subscribe, etc., I can't think of a song. I'm not with it right now. But if I think of one, I'll come back and add it in later.